Otherwise, you'd have been a permanent fixture. I'm a red through and through. His weight issues, he trimmed himself.
And welcome Manchester, where we've just had the toss. Rory Field has won toss for Metro and elected. Good morning and well to a sunny Rennes Cricket Club, where Rory Field has just won the toss for Metro, first season just about, and he's chosen to in the National League, as it offers the opportunity of being able to win in this format without having to bowl the opposition out. If you're new to I should let you know that there are some adaptations for this game, and it's played with a size 3 football bowled overarm, and depending on people's sight category, they have to have no bounces. Those with the best vision but still counted as visually impaired and able to play the game, mid-partials, the ball has to bounce, and the totally blind, the ball has to bounce twice before reaching the batsman, otherwise it's a no ball. Batsmen wear different coloured bands so that officials, umpires and scorers can tell which sight category players are. So high partials wear a red wristband, mid partials wear a green wristband, low partials wear yellow, and totals wear either a black. Adaptation that you need to be aware of is those who are totally blind only can catch the ball on one bounce, and when they are batting, any runs they score off the bat are doubled. So if they run one, that's 1 run and 2 scored. So I'd just like to run you through the teams for playing 11. They have just 8 players today. They have 3 totals, 2 low partials and 3 mid partials. So their mid partials are Dave Romolo, Arslan and Tahim Sabir. Their low partials are Sharis Johan, the club captain, and Kieran Kelly. Their totals are Abu Bakir Ishtiaq, Likat Hussain and Mohammed Javid. The Metro team, captained by Rory Field, mid-partial, includes Mo Galib, mid-partial, Everton Amos, mid-partial, Prem Sanatri, mid-partial, Mark Bond, mid-partial, Damien Corrigan, high partial, Shiv Varma, low partial, Amin, total, Andy Law, total, and the legend himself, Hashmukh Mehta, total. I think I've remembered all the players for you. I apologise if I haven't. Just to let you know, this game is live, courtesy of my fellow scorer John Egan from Lancashire, who will be running the game on the computer. I will be backing him up by scoring on paper, so that I save all of my computing for trying to make sure that this live stream runs reasonably smoothly and cleanly and clearly. So, as I say, we had the toss a few minutes ago. Rory's won. Lancashire out on the team with some drills for their potential opening batsman. Metro are away to my left, gathered in, doubtless discussing how they're going to go about bowling and fielding. So, as far as I understand it, I am looking west from the pavilion, and the ground is sloping down a reasonable amount from the north towards the south. I should think the slope here must mirror that of Lord's. It's a reasonably decent and visible slope from here, and I would say that possibly the boundary is slightly longer towards the south and down the hill, slightly shorter up the hill towards the north. At the north, on the north boundary, there is a very tall chain mesh fence, doubtless to make sure cricket balls don't go flying over into the relatively new housing development of Cricketers Close. At the far end of the ground, I can see church spire rising above the trees. There are a fairly solid row of trees lining that far boundary. Maybe a slight disadvantage for the VI game is that the trees are just inside the brick boundary wall, which is plain brickwork on the outside, but unfortunately on the inside for the VI game has been painted white. The VI ball is white, and regulations for visually impaired cricket preclude anybody wearing white attire on the ground, which is to try and make sure that the ball remains visible. The contrast is good against green, but obviously appalling against white. So unfortunately, that Hugh Spence end of the ground is painted white, which is, as I say, a little bit sad. As I said, to the north, we're bounded by the chain link fence, and away to the south, which is the border of the primary school, which abuts the site, a rather grand Manchester primary school with its own imposing clock tower, which is now reading a 11:15. So that means that you've only got 5 minutes more of me prattling on before we get on with the action today, because start of play is in 5 minutes. To let you know that our umpires today are Howard Moon and Roger Barker, both very experienced umpires for the visually impaired game. We have had quite a lot of rain in Manchester overnight. It is wet here. It's dripping off the roof, and the scorers have had to kind of tuck the table back underneath the overhang on the pavilion roof here, so that we're out of the dripping, which is still carrying on from the overnight rain. But there's plenty of blue in the sky now, and mainly just really quite light white fluffy clouds, a few perhaps tinged with a little bit of grey, but the forecast does seem to be pretty reasonable, hopefully, for the rest of the day. So we're expecting that we will get a full game in, and the weather won't spoil this match, which is the last National League game of this season. The other, perhaps more important visually impaired game happening today sees Wavertree Cricket Club hosting Durham in the Northern Regional League, where Durham could possibly secure the title even if they're beaten. They certainly secure the title if they draw or win. If they're beaten, provided they have enough bonus points, they will be league champions. And we're now very close to the start of play. Metro have gathered themselves just slightly to my left on the boundary. They're going into a huddle. At least 9 of the players. Damien Corrigan is just walking towards them, guiding Andy Law. For those of you who've not met Damien, he does stand head and shoulders above the rest of the team. Some of them look particularly tiny next to Damien. For example, Prem almost struggles to come above his waist.
Chest.
All Metro are neatly attired in Metro playing kit, apart from the legend Hashmukh Mehta, who has turned up in Metro Devils kit, so slightly more royal than dark blue and with some red trim. The Metro kit is dark blue. Lancashire Lions are playing in their traditional orange kit with dark trousers, and the Metro team are now taking the field. The umpires are already out in the middle. They've walked down towards that Hugh Spence end where trees stand in front of the white painted brick wall, and it seems as if the Lancashire Lions are going to open with a pair of brothers, Arslan and Tahin Sabir are going to be their opening batsmen. As soon as I know, I'll let you know who we think is going to be 1 and 2, and we'll also bring you news of who is going to be opening the bowling for Metro. I would suspect it may well be Mo Galib. He's gone down to the far end and is just mimicking, practicing his bowling action. And it does seem as if no, maybe he's walking back down towards the pavilion end, and most of the players are going up towards the far end. So maybe that's where they're setting up to field. Yes, Mo down this end practicing his action, and it seems as if fielders are gathering round the stumps at the far end. So that's probably where the opening batsman is going to stand. Again, in the visually impaired game, the players with very low sight tend to stand round close to the bat, which is sometimes a fairly dangerous occupation. The ball can hit you quite hard standing close. Behind the stumps, we appear to have Mark Bonds today, and perhaps Mo isn't going to bowl. He's walking out to deep mid wicket, which is where Matt Dean might usually field for Metro. Matt's not here today. Field's trying to set themselves up. It does look as if we've got Mark Bonds at wicket keeper. Hashmukh seems to be at silly points. Andy Law just to his right at very short cover. Amit Amin is at a very short mid wicket. Damien Corrigan is just behind Andy Law. Shiv Varma has come out to point, which is a fairly traditional position for low partial to field at in this game. Rory is directing the field. And yes, you may have just heard, but we've got communication with the umpires here today on the walkie-talkies. So coming out to extra cover is Prem Salathri. Rory's still directing traffic. It seems as if Nick Ebeck is going to be at short mid-on. It does look as if it's going to be Rory to open the bowling. I'm quite sure where Mo is going to field. It looks like perhaps he's going to. Yes, Mo is going to square leg, and they're asking. Oh, there's a huge confusion at setting the field. They're asking Everton to go to the other side, and he's asking which other side. He is now jogging across to the offside. So he's going to cover, and Prem is now at extra or really wide mid-off. Umpires have just asked us if we're ready, so we are all ready to go. We're perhaps a minute or two after the scheduled start as Rory takes the ball for the first delivery of today. Comes in up to the wicket. No, that was just a practice. He's has just hop, skipped and jumped and hung onto the ball. Mark Bond with a clap to make sure the field is all ready. And we are now ready to start. I've heard the umpire give instructions on the bowler's action to the batsman, and Rory comes in. Bowls outside off stump, steered down towards third man. Shiv is after it. He's just got to the ball now. They've run two, and they're staying with two. So that's two off the first ball, and Mark Bond just moving Shiv round now, so he's come out of point and he's much more at short third man. So Rory, right arm over. That's again straight, steered out. It's fielded by Everton, and there's one run. So, ended. Arslan Sabir now on strike, and Rory looking to adjust the field, but it's not adjusting very much. But Rory is changing his action. He's coming right arm round to Shiv has gone back to the boundary because he's now at fine leg. Just outside off stump, out into the covers. Mo comes in from point to field, and there's no run. So yes, fielders are in opposite hand fielding positions. That's out into the covers. Nick Ebeck's after it. Well, there might have been one there, but they weren't quite sure how quickly Nick was going to get to that. So no run. Andy Law is just jogging on the spot to warm up. There is some sunshine, but it's early-ish in the morning. That's wide-ish outside off stump. It's not been signalled wide, but wide enough for Mark Bond to miss it. It has now been signalled wide, and they've run two, so that's three wides in total. That was a long way outside the off stump, that delivery, and Mark Bond had to chase it nearly all the way to the fence at the Hugh Spence end of the ground. So Rory now in bowls. That's much straighter, but too long. It's a no ball. So we've still got two to come. We started off with 4 legal deliveries, and then we've just managed to have 2 illegal ones. Rory carefully making sure he has the ball well gripped. He certainly uses the technique of making sure one finger is in the valve to help with the grip on this largish ball. And that's much straighter, and might almost sneak through the defences there, but it hasn't. So it's another dot ball, and we have now reached the last legal delivery of the first innings. Rory's in, bowls again. It's longish and outside off stump, and I'm not quite sure. It's been given as a wide ball by the bowler's end umpire, although Roger Barker, who is at point for the left-handed batsman, or square leg for the right-handed batsman, seemed to be signalling that it was also a no ball. That's a much better delivery though, good length, steered out into the colours. Nick Ebeck fields. That is the end of the over. So 3 off the bat to Tassin. Arslan is on nought. We've had 4 wide scored, 2 wide balls. 1 no ball, so that is 8 for naught at the end of the over. So, just a little bit of chat about the fact that we'll be starting the second over with a left-handed batsman on strike, and it's not Mo to open from the other end. It's actually Damien who has the ball, and it it does look tiny in his hands. Rory has taken up position behind the stumps here for the left-hander. Amit is at short mid-wicket. Andy Laws at short extra. Hashmukh's at short cover. We've got Everton at point, and the ball's, this is the first ball. It's out through those 2 close infielders and fielded by Prem at a more conventional cover position. And this is straight back down to the bowler, fielded by himself, and no run. So Nick Ebeck is at mid-on. Mark Bond's out at deep mid-wicket. That was wideish outside off stump. The batsman swing and a miss went through to Rory. Mo is at square leg, and Shiv is at short 45 on the leg side. And that's tickled down the leg side. Rory dives and takes the catch, and that's 8 for 1 as that's a great diving catch by Rory to dismiss Tasim Sabir. So it's a bit of a strangle down the leg side, and the new batsman going out is
Mohammed Javed.
It's Mohammed Javed. Thank you, John.
Total.
And yes, that one thing I didn't explain before this before we started, the other adaptation for the visually impaired game is that a low-sighted player has to bat in every 3. So totally blind player has to come in at number 3. At number 6, you can have a low-sighted player or a total, but then at 9 and 11, you have to have a total. That is, of course, assuming you have a full 11. So players trying to kind of creep slightly closer to the batsman with a total on strike. Amin was definitely trying to get in so close he was within the fielder exclusions, which prevent fielders standing within 18 inches of the cut strip, so that the batsman has got a decent chance of a swing without swiping somebody. And his wide ball will sometimes be called wide and dead early, and trying to hit the ball might endanger one of the close infielders. And Everton just being told off for having a chat as the bowler was about to enter his delivery stride. So now first ball, it's down the leg side. That's a fantastic shot away to square leg, and they are going to take one. It went straight to Mo, and they were slightly hesitant to take the run. But there was an easy one there, even to Mo, because he's halfway back to the boundary. So yes, Mohammed off the mark, first ball, with 1 run, 2 scored, and We've just got one ball left in the over for Arslan to face. Arslan left-handed, so Nick Ebbeck moving across onto the leg side. Prem's gone right back onto the boundary. Everton's fairly deep. This is down the leg side, but missed, taken by Rory. That's the end of the over. 2 off and a wicket. So at the end of 2, the score is 10-1. With Arslan yet to score, having faced 6 balls. Mohammed's just faced the 1, and Tassim has contributed 7. So we now have Rory to continue. There's a little bit more sunshine now streaming across the ground. But as my colleague points out, sitting in the shade under the pavilion, the sun doesn't reach us. It's not that warm here. So they're all there. Number of fielders kind of close in. Damien has joined the close in corridor around Mohammed. So Rory comes in, bowls. It's outside off stump, and through to Mark Bond, who is continuing to keep for Rory bowling from this end. Mohammed setting himself up, as a lot of totals do, with a guard on off stump, legs in front of the wickets. Totally blind players, one other adaptation for them is they get, as it were, 2 chances.
No ball called.
Yes. Just too long for the total, not 2 bounces, so no ball was outside off stump and was taken by Mark Bond. Rory's now back at his mark. Comes in, bowls. That's on the stumps, swung away to mid-wicket, fielded by Nick Ebbeck, and there's no run. Yes, the bowler calls out, batsman ready. The batsman has to say they're ready, and then the bowler says play as they release the ball. Again, just outside off stump, and again, another no ball, just 1 bounce. Rory just not quite able to control the length and drag it back so that he's getting 2 bounces before it reaches the far end. So that did have the number of bounces, drifted off towards the leg side, taken by Mark Bond behind the stumps. So yes, Everton's at a kind of slightly deeper point. That's leg side-ish as well. Umpire's signalling 2 to come, which we would agree with. Here we are. Mooring is right arm over to the right-handed batsman. That's outside off stump. Through to the keeper. Lots of encouragement coming from the fielders around and about the bat as we draw towards the end of this second over from the pavilion end. So far, just the 2 no ball extras off it. Oh, and that's happened with that. It was very wide, but spun and came in. So another dot ball to end the over. Those 2 no balls off the over. So we've reached 12 for 1 off 3. And my colleague's just saying that moved a mile, and yes, I did think as it kind of went that it was going to go wide, but it spun and came back a very long way.
And it pitched up, it come back off the wicket as well. Excellent delivery.
So Damien to continue from the far end to the left-handed Arslan Sabir, who's yet to score so far, having faced 6 deliveries. So Damien, right arm over. That is surely a no ball. Yes, that was far too long. Better outside the off stump. Away through mid-off. Mark Bond's running round. He's at the ball now. They're coming back for the second. And they are safely home for 2.
Hang on. So, she scored.
They are telling Rory there's no mid-off. Mark Bond perhaps going slightly wider at extra to better cover the gap. This is just tickled fine. Shiv perhaps doesn't see the ball very well. Rory chases it from the wicketkeeper's position, slides and throws in. Mo Galib tidies up. They've scored 1. So that brings Mohammed back. So right-handed batsman, Shiv being asked to move across so that he stays at 45 on the leg side. Mo is at square leg. Nick Ebbeck has come across to mid-wicket. Mark Bond has joined Amit close in on the leg side. Andy Law and Hashmukh on the offside close in. Everton just behind them at point, and Prem out at cover or extra cover outside the off stump. Through to Rory and no run. Nice loud call of ready from Damien. Loud play. That's struck him on the leg. Outside off is the very loud clear call from Roger Barker at the far end, so we know what's going on. And there's 2 to come now, and one of them is here almost already. But that's a wide, so there's still 2 to come. Five off the over so far. And those 2 legal deliveries to come. That also strikes him on the leg, but so far outside off stump that seems to be there's no appeal. And we've nearly reached the end of the second over from the Hugh Spence end of the ground. That's very wide outside off stump. Damien's just going to bowl off of a standing start, so just slightly adjusting, not taking his 2 paces, as he has been up until now. So bowls it. It's a bit leggy. Oh, it's to Amit. It was a
no ball anyway.
It was a no ball as Amit juggled and juggled and juggled, threw himself on the floor and couldn't hold on.
Brilliant.
Brilliant effort. Calm there because that was a fantastic effort. I'm sure if Hassan had been watching that, he'd have been pleased to see it. And this is away. Behind square, Mo is across reasonably quickly to gather it, so limits it 1 run, but 2 scored. So 2 to Mohammed off the bat in that over, 3 to Arslan, 2 wides and 2 no balls.
I've got it.
That's 9 off the over, so 21
Yeah, I'm
for 1.
dot.
And that over went no ball, 2, 2, 1, dot, wide, no ball, 2. And it means that Mohammed is back on strike as Rory measures up to complete his opening spell, as you are only allowed to bowl, any bowler is only allowed to bowl 3 overs in the first 15 in this game.
I'm still wrong on it. You're gonna have to.
Mo setting up even further across, and that's a fantastic shot by Mo. That's hammered away through mid wicket for a boundary 4, rolling into that high fence on the boundary on the north side in front of Cricketers Close. Mo has to kind of go across and collect, and that was a fantastic shot by Mohammed. So 8 off the first ball. Rory comes in again, bowls. Ooh, was there nearly a nick on that as it slid through to the keeper?
Is it that one?
What?
Is it that one?
That's the rest of the over. Yes, start of the over there, and then blank space there, and come across
Right,
here.
got it.
Yes, sorry. I'm doing linear score, and I've just passed a. Well, I don't know what. Certainly, what Surrey teach as straightforward linear score to my colleague, who seems to be as perplexed by a linear score sheet as many other people are who are used to seeing cricket scored
I'm sorry,
in a
you're gonna have
scorebook.
to read it to me.
So this over has started 8.2 as that was thumped by Mohammed out to the covers where Prem fielded it, and they ran through. So 10 off 3 balls, and Rory now coming over the wickets to the left-handed batsman, who just dinks it down offside. Nick Epic jogs in to field the ball, and there is no run. So two now left in this over. Rory's in now, bowls. That's uppish into the vacant mid-on area. Prem chases round from the wicket, throws it into Rory. Taken 1. So Mohammed back on strike for the last legal delivery of this over, which has gone for 11.
Crashed on me.
So we're now at 32 for 1 and 1 ball left. Well, after that fantastic striking, the field staying out deep on the leg side, but they have crept up a little on the offside, perhaps wondering if there might be kind of catch coming. Rory comes in outside off stump, through to Mark Bond for a dot. That's the end of the over, 11 off, and it's 32 for 1. Mohammed has moved on to 14. Arslan is on 4. That 14 includes that 1 boundary. 14 of 18 deliveries.
What over are we actually?
We have now just finished the 5th over. sixth over is about to start. I think we'll be getting a change of bowler. It's certainly not Damien down there. I think this is Nick having a bowl from the far end. So it will be Nick bowling to the end of the ground. And just Rory's behind the stumps, so it seems as if Rory's keeping when he's not bowling. Mark Bond is perhaps only keeping when Rory is bowling. Rory's standing just outside off stump as the wicketkeeper. He's just directed the fields around. We have Prem on the deep mid-wicket boundary, Everton at square leg. Andy Law just being adjusted to come slightly squarer on that leg side. Damien is in short at mid-wicket. And we have Hashmukh and Amit on the offside. This is down the leg side. Big swing. No connection. Rory coming across quickly to take the ball. And no run from the first ball of the sixth over. Nick calls ready. Comes in. Right arm over. That is stumped out into the covers, but straight to Mark Bond. Throws it in to the bowler. That's one run, and Mohammed back on strike. Fields mainly staying in the same positions. Damien's moved across though into the leg side. So just Andy Law, Everton, and Prem on the offside for Mohammed. Amit and Hashmukh in close. Damien just behind them. Shiv down just to my left at 45. Mo's on the fence at square leg. Mark Bonds at mid-wicket. That's hit Mohammed on the foot, but
2 dots.
Clear call of not out. So one dot is how this over has started. With Arslan on face, dot and a single, and now a dot to Mohammed. It comes in. Oh, that's very wide down the leg side. But the umpire leaving, calling and signalling until very late to give Mohammed a chance to get that on ball, as the fielders are just deep enough to allow him a swing at the ball on the strip as it comes past. Nick now adjusting to come over the wicket rather than round the wicket, and that's sort of scuffed down to Amit at short mid-wicket. So 2 to come in the over. Nick over the wicket. That looks long.
No ball.
It is a no ball. So we still have 2 to come in the sixth over. Here comes Nick. Bowls. Much better delivery.
Half out.
And that is given. So that is a half out LBW. So Mohammed has used up one of his 2 lives. So if he is LBW on another delivery, he will be given out LBW. That bowler will get all of the credit. but it doesn't quite matter now because that one has just hit the stumps. So bowled, and that is the end of the over. There was the 1 run to Arslan and the 2 extra, so 3 runs. So we've reached 35 for 1 at the end of the over, and Nick Ebeck has those rather tidy looking figures, therefore, of 1 over, 1 for 3.
Shiraz.
Shiraz is the new batsman replacing Mohammed. And Mohammed scored his team of 22 deliveries. It's interesting that despite being out there from the beginning, Arslan has still only faced 13 balls for his 5 runs, and an enforced change now. If you will recall, I said that nobody's allowed to bowl more than 3 overs. It's also the case that you do need to bowl 3 overs from totally blind players in the first 10. So if it wasn't this over, we have 35 for 1
yes,
here.
That's correct. 35 for 2.
35 for 2, sorry. As Amit stands at the end, ready to bowl. He'll be bowling right arm over from a standing position, and we'll wait and see whether he's bowling his loopy deliveries today or his slightly more skiddy ones. He has a sort of range of possible bowling as he's opening up to Arslan, left-hander. So just Andy Law in short on the leg side. All the other fielders on the leg side are deep. Mo is at square leg. Nick Ebeck is at deep mid-wicket. Prem is at fine leg. Shiv is at third man. That's a long way outside off stump. So Amit starts with a wide.
I'm all over the place here. Getting banked out.
Everton is at deep point. Mark Bond is at wide mid off. Damien is at a short cover. Outside off stump, batsman just lifts the bat up, no intent to play, but it's not wide, so the over has now properly started from the pavilion end, the 7th over of the innings. Again, very wide, right off the strip there. So second wide delivery. Amit's bowling action is the allowed any one arm action for a B1 bowler. So his elbow is bent as he holds the ball now, straightens as he bowls it. That's much straighter. Thumped away square, gathered by Mo just inside the rope. Bowled in very accurately to the stumps to Rory, and that's 1 run. So that brings Shiraz on strike for the first time to face the 3rd legal delivery of this over. So we still have this left hand right. Shiraz is a low partial, wearing a yellow wristband, so he has to have 2 bounces before the ball reaches him. He's also setting up right in front of the stumps, but Shiraz, if hit in given LBW, he is out on the first occurrence. That's down the leg side. He's taken a big swing at it, but missed. Oh, and it is a no ball. Yes, I thought that Roger Barker could only have been signalling no ball from square leg, although sort of a little similar to the hold his hand out to signify 2 to come, but you can't really be at 2 to come when you haven't even had, and you've only had 4 deliveries and 2 of those have been wides. This is outside off stump, taken away to points. Mo Fields, they're through for a run. So we're halfway now through this over, and Arslan is back on strike. Shiraz goes out to where Roger Barker is at point for Arslan to stand with the umpire. Tassin is running for Shiraz. Low-sighted players have a runner. That's a great ball, and it's just sort of bounced high as it reaches the batsman. And we are now at 2 left in the over. That is whacked over his head by Arslan down to fine leg, prems across quickly to field and throw it in, and there's just 1 run scored. So we're now through to the last ball of the over with Shiraz to face. And it stands arm poised, big shout of stump, stump, stumps to guide him from Rory. Outside off stump, thumped away. That is going to go through the cover boundary for 4 by Shiraz. Great 5 from just 3 deliveries. Arslan is on 7 from 17. There were 10 off that over, so that's 45 for 2. We've had 9 wides and 7 no balls. Amex figures 1 over, no maiden, none for 10.
While I get it back.
Paul? Couple of those. How's seeing double?
Howard seen double.
Yeah.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're having to have a change of umpire. My scorer colleague John has just gone out to umpire in place of Howard, who is having some difficulty with his vision. And so substitute umpire going out, coming off. Meanwhile, up at the Hugh Spence end of the ground, in front of those trees and the white painted brick wall with the church spire away in the background, Andy Law has the ball in his hands and is getting himself ready to bowl with this short delay as the umpires change. So it's going to be Andy Law bowling to Arslan Sabir. Score to remind you is 45 for 2 of 7. Hashmukh is on the leg side, short for the left-handed batsman. Amit is on the offside. Rory is behind the stumps. Shiv is at wide third man. Mark Bond is in the covers. Andy Law now bowls on off stump, thumped out to deep mid wicket. It's fielded there by Nick Abeck, thrown into the middle of the pitch. That is 1 run to Arslan and brings Shiraz on strike. So for Shiraz, Mo is going across into the leg side, so he's going to square leg. Mark Bond's then at mid wicket. Prem is at third man. Everton's at point. Nick Ebeck is out at deep extra. Damien's at shorter cover. And they're now ready for Andy. Big shout of stumps from the keeper. Andy bowls. It's a bit leg side. And Shiraz hits it. Rory was anticipating that move across to the leg side and snaffles the ball. So that's 46 for 3 as Shiraz is caught by Rory for 5 of 4 deliveries. And this is Dave Bromelow going out for Lancashire. And he will have 4 to face from Andy Law. So Lancashire 46 for 3. And their 5th batsman now going out. So they have remaining Kieran Kelly, Vikat Hussain, and Abdul Bakir Ishtiaq as they look to set Metro a challenging total for their chase in the game today. So still right hand, left hand combination. They've gone out another right hander. The left handed Arslan still there. And Tassine running for Dave Bromelow. Although he's in the partial disposition to have a runner, he just pads that down into the leg side. Rory runs round to field. There's no run. So on the stumps from Andy, so encouragement being shouted around. Field creeping in slightly for this batsman. Perhaps they feel he's just prodded that down into the onside. Mark Bond at fairly short mid-on has fielded and has now walked even closer for the possibility perhaps of one in the air. Another good ball by Andy, good length, just poked into the offside. Damien comes in and gathers. So this is possibly a very good over from Andy. So 1 for 1 at the moment with 1 ball to come. Big shout, call the play. It's a bit down the leg side. It's not wide. It's not wide enough to be wide though. So that is the end of the over. It's 46 for 3 at the end of 1. And Andy Law's figures 1 over, no maidens, 1 for 1. Amit now leaning with his right hand on the stumps. I'm not sure if he has the ball tucked into his left arm. He may have. It's quite likely he will bowl the 9th over, so that we are through the requisite 3 B1 overs within the first 10. So Roger Barker standing at this end. Discussion about setting the field for the left-handed batsman. Mo being directed out to square leg by Rory. Deep mid-wicket on the fence is Nick Ebeck. Prem is at fine leg. The field's on the offside and moving fairly deep mid-off is Damien Corrigan. Extra cover is Mark Bond. Deep point is Everton. Shiv is at third man. And that's kind of almost aimed towards third man by Amit, who seems to be slightly struggling with his line today. Usually very accurate. This is much more accurate. Outside off stump, thump back down, well fielded. Now ready to bowl again. There's the call for him, and this one is outside off. It's thumped to deep extra. Mark Bond has it, relays it in via Damien, who walks across and hands it to Amit. They were through for 1. So that brings Dave Bromelow onto strike. And the field creeping in, sensing that perhaps he's not going to be able to hit the ball a long way. In fact, Everton is pretty close at square leg, and he's not far away. Nick, who had been standing slightly deeper at cover, is being brought in. There's a real serious ring of fielders all round the batsman at the moment, with almost nobody deep. Everton being asked to go slightly more towards mid-wicket, slightly deeper. Little bit of discussion to make sure the umpire at square leg, John Egan, can still see what's going on. So fairly long time to set out, but now Amit is ready to bowl. Comes down, bowls, that's down the leg side, taken by Rory, and there is no run. So Amit just checking his position against the stumps, a little assistance from the umpire at this end, as is often the case for the blind batsman. That is in the air, but past Mark Bond, but not hit that hard. Mark Bond 2 to come towards the end of the 9th over. Field just getting itself back into position as Amit bowls, good length, just dead batted down into the leg side, and there's no run. Rory calling out, this is an excellent over. It is just 2 from it. And bowling much straighter. That is down the leg side, but straight enough for a dot. And so we are at 8 for 3 off 9. Dave Bromelow has faced 8 balls, and Aston Severe has faced 19 for his 8 runs. And Andy Law to continue at the Hugh Spence end for his second over. And well, why not? If you're on 1 over, 1 for 1, you must be thinking that maybe it's your day. He will be bowling as he was with the first ball of his last over to the left-handed Arslan Sabir, and the fielder's right out on the fence. Well, it's Sano's trying to kind of remove one of his layers and being asked to not expose his torso by the other fielders. He's at square leg, Prem's at fine leg, Dickebeck out at deep mid-wicket. This is between Mo and Prem, and goes all the way for 6. So it's a great way. 50 up, Lancashire with that 6. A great way to go to 50. As I say, pierced, went into the gap between Mo and Prem. Mo sort of slightly trying to edge himself a little more backward of square, so nearer where the ball had gone. He's just ambling about, and the batsman's making sure that, of course, he's not moving, can't move once the bowler's ready to bowl, and the batsman's just trying to make sure he knows where he is before the next ball comes down. So a little bit of time between deliveries. Andy bowls again. It's a little bit more outside off stump. Batsman just lifts his bat out of the way. Rory takes it, throws it back. The runner at the far end helps Andy to gather the ball up at the stumps. And we're ready for the third ball of the over. In, bit leg side, again, high in the air. It's much more towards Prem. It is caught by Prem, who steadied himself carefully and snaffled that just inside the rope. So that is 54 for 4. Arslan falls for 14 of 22 with that boundary 6. And this is Liaquat Hussain coming out to bat next for Lancashire. He's got 3 balls. If
High
this
ball, score on
Andy
54.
Yes, scores on 54. 54 for 4. 3 to come. So the batsman had crossed while that ball was in the air. So Liaquat is not on strike. He's gone out to point with John Egan, who's taken over from Howard Moon umpiring. And so Dave Bromelo facing Andy Law in from the Hugh Spence end of the ground. Again, the field coming in close around Dave Bromelo. Nick Quebec making sure he steps on the wicket as little as possible as he comes across into the leg side. So there's 3 now closing on the leg side, 2 closing on the off. Mo just behind them. Prem at slip. That bounces through safely to the keeper for the dot ball. And there's now 2 to come in the 10th. Law just dead batted down into the ground. That was outside off stump. There's no run. So Andy now in, bowls, drifting down leg. It's not drifting far enough to be a problem. It's taken by Rory. That's the end of the over. It's 54 for 4. Dave 1 for 6 off that over. So Andy Law now 2 overs, no maidens, 2 for 7. Liaquat Hussain yet to face. Dave Bromelo hasn't scored. He's so far faced 11 balls. And we're at the start of the 11th over. So all the 11s. And rather later than is often the case, we have a bowling change at this end. Amit is being replaced by Mo, who will be bowling to Liaquat. There's a little brains trust discussion from the Metro leadership team, as it were, with Rory and Mark Bond and Mo all having a discussion down here at the pavilion end as we wait for the start of the 11th over. As a couple of birds just flying across, three birds flying across the pitch, in what is becoming perhaps an increasingly blue sky today. Yes, almost picture postcard looking over the far end church spire, poking up above the trees. Everybody now set, look at on strike, everybody close in with Mo bowling. He comes in, bowls, jabs. Oh no, that was off his legs. It's another half out LBW. So and a huge swing and a miss there, and it just crept past leg stump. So second dot ball from Mo. Comes in now, bowls. That's steered through third man. Mark Bond's after it. They're looking to come back for a second. That's good running as they've taken 2 runs, 4 scored. So here we are, just waiting for the batsman to be ready. And his runner just coming in to just look at stance. I think perhaps he was setting up too far over towards the leg side. Mo comes in, bowls, that is just behind his legs. Taken by Rory, no run. 2 balls left in the over. And moves in, bowls. It was on the stumps. It's hit back fairly hard. Mo dives to his left in the follow through to stop the ball. Always very keen to make sure that minimum runs off his bowling. So athletic fielding in that position. It's just outside off stump, swing and a miss, through to the keeper. It's the end of the over. There was just that 4 runs from it. So look at 4 of 6 deliveries. And Andy Law with those fantastic figures to continue with a 3rd over in his spell. Dave Bromelo is on strike. As I said before, he's yet to score, and he's faced 11 balls. So here we are, start of the 12th over, the 6th over from that Hugh Spence into the ground. Field again in close. Deepest field is probably Shiv at 45 on the leg side. In close on the leg side, you have Amit, Mark Bond, and Mo Galib. That's too far outside off, and it's wide. So Prem is at slip, Hashmuk at point, Damien next to him, Nick Ebeck just behind him, dead batted down and fielded by Mark Bond. Everton is also slightly deep at backward point. Andy lining himself up, bowls into the air outside off stump, and is into the arms of Damien Corrigan. So that's the 5th wicket down. 59 for 5 as De Bromlow just pokes at that and Damien in to take the catch. So De Bromlow didn't score, faced 13 deliveries. And we seem to have it on the team sheet. So Angie Kirst. That seems to be better. So there were 4 balls to come in this over. And he's in, bowls, that's leg side, down. Arnott's diving at the ball on the floor, but Rory just moves around from behind the stumps to field and there's no run. Just adjusting the field, they'd managed to stray to having 3 on the leg side behind square, the umpire calling it dead rather than a no ball. So we still have 3 to come from Andy. That's very wide on the leg side. That's gone wide of Amit. So yes, that's very wide. Has to be called as a wide early and dead by the umpire, so the batsman doesn't try and chase the sound of the ball, which is audible for those who can't see. So still 3 to come from Andy. That's much straighter. It's thumped away into the boundary 4 through mid-wicket there, and 2 balls now left in the mid-wicket there, and 2 balls now left in the over. The score is now wide, thumped into the leg side square. Mo runs across the face. We've had 7 runs and a wicket off. Wickets taken with this last ball. He's just lining himself up by pointing in the direction that he wants to bowl with the leading arm. Bowls it, but that's outside of stump, so he'll get another opportunity to take a wicket. So that's the bowl to bring us to 6 legal deliveries. In some forms of visually impaired cricket, not all wides and no balls are re-bowled, but these are. There's a big appeal, but given not out by Roger Barker, going down leg side. So 5 runs and 3 wides off the over. So that Andy now 3 for 15 off his 3 overs. Mo to continue at the pavilion end as we reach noon. The 2 hands on the school clock way to my left. Just his second over from the pavilion end, the 13th over of the innings. In bowls, batted away to mid-wicket, fielded by Everton, comes in and bowls up in the air above Damien at short third man. He's chasing it down. He reaches it now. They've run through just for single. So look at now back on strike. And so now Mo in, nobody able to grab it. So a dot ball, sort of bounced off the wicketkeeper and then across to Damien. So the ball bounces off the top. That's down the leg side, sort of spinning in, but behind the batsman who just remained in his stance through the whole of that. Rory was across quickly though to gather behind the stump. So no run. Swing and a miss just outside off stump, and one ball to come from Mo in the 13th over. It's a no ball. Metro was starting to celebrate a wicket until the no ball was called just too long. The score to 68. Mo's already in, bowling again, just leg side and a dot. So it is 68 for 5 at the end of 13. Mo is through 2 overs and he's conceded 6 runs. And so change of bowling at the Hugh Spence ends, and Amit's coming in to bowl his 3rd over. So we will have had Rory, Amit, Andy all having bowled their full allocation within the first 15, and potentially Mo if he bowls the 15th, with the other overs being filled up by those 2 from Damien and 1 from Nick. But Metro then also having the advantage of having bowled 6 total overs inside the first 15, so they will then be able to go all the way through to 27 before having to bowl another B1 over, because they'll have bowled all those needed in the first 20. So Amit at the far end, so the first time he's bowled from the far end, well pitched up, the ball is hit back fairly firmly to mid-on. It's fielded by Nick Ebeck and there's no run. So Amit, Rory comes out up the bowler, possibly just having a word with the umpire about something. I'm not quite sure what he's talking to. Was fielding position at point. It's thrown in, pretty accurate throw, but Rory couldn't gather it. Mark Bond comes round behind to tidy up, and there's 1 run, which brings the cat back. So at the other end is on 7 from 8.
What were you on, Paul?
The score is 69 for 5, and we're halfway through the 14th over. Okay. You can listen to commentary on the Metro YouTube channel as that ball is wide down the leg side, fielded by Rory, thrown back towards arm poised. That is drifting down leg. It's off the legs, into the leg side. There's no run. Ball comes back to Amit. He just touches the stumps to align himself. Arm is poised. And it comes in a little bit down the slope that I told you about here from north to south. So it was straightish, but just crept past leg stump. This one is outside off. Oh, well, I thought it must have been straighter, because again it's come through on the leg side. So just 2 off that over from Amit. That's 3 overs none for 14 for him. And we seem to be coming in. The score is 70. No balls. The batsman.
Oh, is that 70?
I have 70 for 5 and 14 overs. Yes.
Done it one early because they're out there, and we thought, what the heck?
Yeah. I just thought I couldn't count. That's all.
No, it is after 14.
So, can I just check? When you were out, who went into that?
When I was out, Lewis must
Oh,
be
it was Lewis, yes.
Crooks, yeah.
Yeah, and that's Angie Crooks, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dave hasn't batted yet. So you've got
Dave.
Dave Bramwell isn't here, is he?
No.
Oh, I'd kind of forgotten who was in the team. Sorry.
A few pulled out due to injuries and travel, Sunday travel and everything, unfortunately. But yeah, it's looking good. What a catch by Rory.
Yes. Pretty impressive catch. So the players are now taking drinks just to my left and just inside the boundary here. And I don't need a drink. I've still got some of my breakfast drink here. Thank you, Shiraz. The home skipper has just come across here to the commentary position, or the scorer's position, to make sure I'm.
With red fans.
So
Howard.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Everything you need, you read everything on it to know on that.
Yeah, I haven't looked, Shiraz, so I will have a look. And I'm very glad to see that I've been joined by at least, and it is definitely looking to demonstrate huge athleticism in the fields this morning. I think you can live chat. Oh, you're there. Yes. And I see you've commented on Prem's catch. And you're in Leighton, so welcome to you from Leighton. I do apologise for the crackle. It does seem as if we will have to invest in a better microphone. Giving me a megaphone for shouting the score from the boundary must be one that lives in the minds of a great many people. The megaphone just gave feedback and didn't really increase the volume by any decent amount at all. I'd much prefer, if I'm scoring on the boundary and shouting the score, to be free just to shout as loud as I like. That's very disappointing. The connection has gone unstable. So if you are still there in a cafe in Leighton, I think we're okay, because it went unstable. The counter is still counting. Hopefully the microphone hasn't come out and you're able to hear. If you are able to hear, do say so. Let's check. Maybe the phone isn't on, because we were hoping we might get somebody on the ground to check what's going on, but that can't be anybody from Metro, because they're all in the field and they're all walking back out into the fields now, after that early drinks break after 14. So the next over will be bowled from the pavilion end. Mo's just picked the ball up, so I think Dean will be far end the last over. So it is going to be Mo. He's consulting with Mark Bond. as Rory goes to behind the stumps as wicket keeper. Shiv is just moving down towards that far end of the ground. I think we've got one player off the pitch at the moment. It does appear as if Hashmukh has either gone to the toilet or possibly for an early first shower. I'm not sure. He doesn't certainly not out on the pitch. As I said, Hashmukh clearly distinguishable in the Metro playing 11 because he's wearing the Devils kit and not a Metro kit, although he's played for Metro for so. Oh yeah, a very simple start to Mo's over. He came in, so that's it. 7 from 9 and bowled, and that's 74-6 as comes out to bat for the Lions. And a lot of shout and chat out in the field, big encouragement from Rory. And well, so maybe it was a toilet break and not a trip to the shower, as Hashmukh is coming back onto the field, guided by Prem. And they're almost trying to kind of sprint down to the far end to get Hashmukh in position for the second ball of this over. So 2 totals and 2 runners. The 2 Sabirs are running for those who are batting. It's Abubakir on strike, Mo's in, bowls just outside off stump. Taken by Rory, and there's no run. Mo walking back to his mark, turns, comes in off his 3 or 4 paces, bowls, that's outside leg stump, just played down and fielded by Prem. Runner just coming in and helping Abubakir make sure he's got his guard set up. And now Rory comes in and bowls down the leg side. Batsman not interested in chasing that. It's a dot ball, and we've reached 2 to come in this, the 15th over. 2 more dot balls, and bounce off the bat through into a sort of wide slip or gully position where Damien Corrigan is fielding, and there's no run. So last ball of the 15th over. Goes in, bowls pretty straight. It's given as half out, I think. The umpire's walking away down to the far end without looking for an acknowledgement from the scorer, so I might just have to say, Roger, was that a half out? Over. Yes, it was. Oh. I'm fairly sure that was a half out at
I didn't hear what you said.
Was that a half out? Was that a half out?
I didn't put my hand high enough.
So that was a wicket maiden. So Mo now 3 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 6. It's 74-6 6, and Ebubakir is half out. So both batsmen now half out as Rory comes in and doesn't need the half out to remove Likat as he hits the stumps. Oh. That is 74-7 as Rory comes in from the Hugh Spence far end of the ground. For the 16th over of the game. So I think this must be Kieran Kelly coming out to bat as the 9th. And Kelly coming in as a low partial. And farewell to Hassan, who has disappeared from the channel. Kieran coming out in a batting helmet. The players just wander around and chat to one another, waiting for the new batsman to come out. Rory's at the far end, standing next to Roger Barker. Batsmen all, well, fielders rather, all fairly close around the batsman again. Nobody out particularly deep. Mo's a little bit deep at square leg. Shiv's back a bit at third man. Everybody else really just gathered around the bat. 4 on the offside, 3 on the leg. Mark Bond is keeping as Rory's bowling. Comes in from the far end. Bowls into his 4th over, and he's picked up 2 wickets, 2 bowled. So he's on a hat trick at the beginning of next season. He finishes with 2 for 21. Lancashire have scored 70 for 8 from 16.2 to win. That's the end of the first innings. So we will end this live stream commentary now. We will join you again for the second innings to see if Metro can chase 71 needed for victory and a winning end to their National League campaign this season. They are already league champions, whatever happens today, and it looks as if they've got a reasonable chance of being able to win this match at the halfway stage as we go for the innings break. So we'll join you shortly as we come back for the second innings.